to everyone that has carved out a little bit of time in your Sunday evening. I really do appreciate it. I think maybe next week we'll try and run it a little earlier just to kind of give some more time variety, especially for our European folks. Um, but yeah, just based off of my general schedule, it's a lot easier for me running these at this time. So I appreciate everyone having the flexibility to also attend, and now it means a lot for me. This week was pretty busy. We've been working on a few things with regard to Citrus, essentially to try and make it a bit more of a robust platform, but actually kind of bleeding into more things that will kind of impact FFF tools as well in a positive fashion. So I'm super excited for it. I'll leave it at that for, for this meeting. I know more details will come out throughout the week and next weekend, but want to kind of leave it at that. But starting off with quality of life updates, one of the biggest that I know Brink's been pretty excited about in the background is changing out our fame leaderboard, primarily from the navigation standpoint on the left-hand side, but also with the look of the cards that are in the middle. So I copied a screenshot of what it currently looks like. But we've gotten rid of what we called the Fame leaderboard and changed it up to now call it the Hall of Fame. And we've added socials directly on the cards. That way you don't have to click and see whose Fox it is. Of course, you could still click it, still shows that information in the modal that comes up after. And we've added filters in for the unfreeze ray, wormhole 3D, as well as the ability to search for foxes through owner socials or their wallet addresses. So just a super clean way of improving, the UI. That's always been a big thing for us in general. But over time, some of these things, I wouldn't necessarily say they fall between the cracks. We just have other higher priority items, and it just takes a while for us to kind of circle back on it. So hopefully you guys like it. Definitely appreciate feedback too. If anyone has any questions, suggestions, anything along those lines, doesn't have to be here. It can be whenever, but worth mentioning for folks that play around. And I know it's been the case for a while, but just like reminders for folks because I think it's always good. For people that are looking to buy foxes, if they're brand new, this is definitely a place that I tend to send people. That way they can search for levels, they can search for, you know, TFFs, FFFs, friends and foes, whatever they'd like. They can kind of filter down, and you can buy directly through this page. I know, dependent on the marketplace and if there's been any modification to their code post us implementing it in here and not updating it if they haven't given us updates. There can be errors every once in a while, but it's a solid spot to get people to see, if there's level arbitrage that can be taken, um, really anything. This gives them the best information compared to a marketplace. It's not easy to get all of this information in a marketplace based off of what we have as well. It's not that we're trying to be a marketplace, but we're just trying to have a central location that has the best information possible for anyone buying. You could certainly still trade in any other marketplace. By no means is this meant to replace them, but if people are looking to jump in, get involved in missions, try and, do all the things, I definitely try to send people over to now what's called the Hall of Fame to find their foxes. So I would just send that out there. If you guys see someone interested, just shoot it as a suggestion. If there's any direct specific questions about how to navigate, hopefully it's fairly straightforward, but feel free to, ping me, ping customer support Fox. There's a lot of OGs and stuff that help out every once in a while, or and I wouldn't even say that they help out all the time, that I would definitely say to leverage if they're around, to try to help someone if they're in need. We also added the Fox upgrade animation effects. That was more so for fun. It's just one of those things where, yeah, I don't really I don't know if I have necessarily good explanation on our side for like specific ones, but we've seen it with other UIs that um, I'll say companies, not even necessarily projects, do. that's pretty fun. It's what we messed around with actually with April Fools for the Platypodes mint, just kind of having the upgrade experience be more than just wait for it to switch the picture. So we added in recently like the raffle animation at the end for drawing, who the winner is. Not that it's customized there. Definitely want to get something a little better personally, but we just figured it made sense to add in like an animation for when you upgrade your Fox. So if you haven't seen it yet and you're interested and you have um, upgrades that are already done, you can change them, from tier 1 to tier 0 and back, just to kind of check it out if you wanted to mess around with it. But it's nothing too crazy. You can just under My Foxes, um, you can just switch something, equip, an older one, and then or a lower stat or a higher stat, uh, and just check it out. It's pretty fun. Nothing crazy again, but just for fun. And then the last item, I mean, obviously with the recent surge in shitcoining, actually seeming to be a larger percentage of interest in Solana, which is super interesting. Um, Foxy Mint has come up. I know David posted the other day, that we've had Foxy Mint up with the ability for you to create SPL tokens for 6 months. Wasn't necessarily created for shitcoining, of course. It's meant to be a tool for people to use for whatever their use case is, and for shitcoining, for a lack of better term. The one thing that people get worried about from a FUD standpoint on tokens is if the max supply can still be modified. So if it's a mutable token, in theory, they can just mint an infinite supply, dump it into the liquidity, and just take out whatever money is in there, propping it up. So we added in the disable minting feature, which basically freezes the supply. And for anyone that's creating these tokens, it just creates like a level of certainty around um, the use case, for whatever you're doing. The supply is max. It can't be increased more. It can't be exploited accidentally. So the risk is more defined than it is without that. Um, so we've added that in there. And then for what it's worth, I know we didn't include it in here, but we had a situation come up this week where, and not to dig too deep in the weeds, but Metaplex had done a change for the way the accounts were set up for PNFTs. So what that meant was people couldn't create or couldn't edit a mutable NFT to an immutable NFT using Foxy Mint. The way we originally had designed it, at least let's call it the past, I don't know, 6 months, you could just create an NFT as an NFT. If you had to modify or something after, it's perfectly fine. And then whenever you wanted to make it immutable, you would just go into edit under Foxy Mint and then select the option to make it immutable after you've selected it, of course, and then just executed it. That was broken. That got broken with this recent Metaplex change. So what we've done is we've added in the ability when you use Foxy Mint to make it immutable from the get-go. So the only downside is that if you mess something up when minting it, you can't change it if it's immutable. So you have to burn it and then recreate it. So what I would say, and it's not a ton of money to do, but it can just be wasteful. But if you are interested in creating PNFTs for whatever you're trying to do, and you're creating a bunch of them, if there's the chance that you might mess something up, definitely makes sense to get a Fox and stake it, and that way you're not paying the additional fees for creating the tokens, in case something isn't right and you have to like keep delete, burning and reminting and such. So just worth throwing that out there for folks. And of course, TFFs get a quarter off, so depending on what you're doing, how much you're doing, it could be a better strategy to get a couple of those. Whatever, of course, whatever you're doing. But it's worth mentioning. We didn't throw it in here. Um, it really doesn't mean much for most people, but for the some people that it might impact. If you're creating an immutable NFT using Foxy Mint, just check that option. from the get-go, and you're good to go. I think we've updated it since, but it's just worth mentioning that we add that option in for folks to select that. All right, jumping into citrus updates specifically. So we've added in, after people have been suggesting for actually quite a few different use cases, the ability for folks to do an NFT offer. So you can now select the NFTs from, someone else's wallet that's already active and be able to create an additional offer for that specific NFT. So that way they can re-borrow directly from that specific offer. And the main challenge here, and the reason why we did this is, in the event that somebody is borrowing against a rare NFT and the floor price is obviously higher than the normal floor price, if they want to re-borrow uh, higher liquidity than floor price, there is no easy option to do that. People could send a private offer, however, they could just accept that offer with a floor NFT and take off. So we didn't want to have that additional risk exposure, especially for some folks recently. So I know they've handled it differently, but just to make life easier going forward, you can then select that NFT and make an offer on that specific one so they can reborrow whenever they want. Um, you can make it the offer directly from the user's profile or just by selecting the NFT under your active loans. Um, and that just makes sure that they're only accepting those terms for that specific NFT and not just for any NFT of their choosing for that specific collection. So pretty pretty neat and useful tool for folks that are lending, especially going against rares or different terms or for whatever things people are creating for it, and on the same exact specific loan that's already out. I mean, super super useful. So um, for those of you that do use Citrus, feel free to test it out. Give us feedback if it sucks, like whatever we can change. Let us know. Happy to tweak what we can tweak. Um, but yeah, I think it's pretty cool. So threw in a little screenshot here from what we had posted out today. But feel free to check out. There's a couple of pictures in there. The other one shows you selecting the NFT that you want to make an offer for. So if you're interested in doing that, of course, as well. And then the bottom point here, that we're working on something new for Citrus. I would say Citrus is kind of the start with it. So it's I'm looking forward to it. It's been something that we've been talking about for too long, and I think it just makes sense. And the more we look at the way other companies are really kind of work functioning in the space, it just makes sense from us as the offerings that we have. Um, I'll leave it at that. We're going a little on the hype speculation type model thing for a little while. But we'll give out additional details on Wednesday, and we'll give out like the full rundown for next weekend. So we'll have more details and stuff to talk about then. And there are still a few like smaller items that we're working on cleaning up with it, but pretty excited. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited. It's been something that I think it's been too long that we haven't done, and I think now seems like a pretty good time to throw it out there to fox around and find out. So that's Citrus. We did, just to kind of recap, we did do all of our drawings for month end of April on Wednesday. We did our monthly drawing for over 1,000 SOL worth of NFTs. You can check out the events notifications channel in Discord. Scroll up. It's you don't have to scroll up much, or you can just search your wallet address in there that you purchased tickets for, just to see if you want any of those prizes. They've already been sent out, so you might have seen something pop in your wallet. You might not know where it came from. It was most likely from that monthly raffle. Although, if you weren't there for the other two drawings, it could have been from the second April bi-monthly raffle or the April citrus raffle. So, second bi-monthly raffle was over 300 sold in prizes. And then for citrus, which I didn't include in the screenshot, we had 370 sold of prizes, which does include the partnership prizes. I do know, and I'll, I don't know why I jacked it up on my side, but the BSL or the Smith that's in both the April monthly raffle and the citrus raffle were the same one. We actually had two. I just copy pasted the same image accidentally, so the citrus one got a different BSL. I think actually a better rank if I'm not mistaken, or Smith, whatever you want to call them. But then we also not only did those prizes, um, we did 200 chests on top of it. So people had gotten chests and I messed it up. So as wild as it sounds, we had in the treasury wallet 201 old chests. We like legitimately was one more than the amount I was sending out. And I didn't double check it on Foxy Share. I just saw chests. I saw we had 201. I figure I set it up that I set it up to be perfect to send out, and I just sent them. And people were like, "Yo, I got this old chest. Like I can't burn it. I can't do shit with it." And I was like, "Well, you got a piece of Fox history, I guess." And then I proceeded to send out 200 of the actual chests that they could burn. And then, of course, came the, oh, I can claim one, but I can't claim the second. And I'm just like, you got one by accident, the other the other one's on purpose. So that was fun. That was fun. Um, but it's a long way of me saying that we gave out, a bunch of stuff on Wednesday. It was super, super fun. I have to work on making the the raffles and citrus raffles more fun. I've been talking about like trying to get like something, I don't know, IRL or something that I can set up and run with. It's not easy. It's super niche. I've been looking at like the way they do these, I don't know if you want to consider them like jackpot games or whatever, but like there's like live drawings for different prizes and wheel things and all this other kind of craziness that I think it's just super like customized that they run that I just have no idea where to even start if I'm honest. But I try to make them as fun as I can. And the only other or the only not caveat, the only other point I wanted to make with the citrus raffle is the partnership prizes, and how we're handling those. So what we did for April was if you lent or borrowed on Klanos, OK Bears, or Smiths, all of your volume counted. So every soul, as long as it's not washed, counted as a ticket. Every single soul. And we did a drawing for that volume from that collection specifically. So all the Klano volume went in one, all the OK Bear volume went in another, and all Smiths went into a third. And we just drew a single winner from those pools. So what that really means is, anybody that's interested in lending when we have these partnership agreements that we run or prizes, I should say, if you're lending on those collections, you have a chance to win that NFT. And so the ones that we're running this month are for ovals from Elixir. You've got Soul Decoders, and you've got Monkey Baby Business. So Monkey Baby Business, I believe, is the highest floor price considerably um, compared to the other two. So if you're interested in lending and you want to have a chance at winning those, that's going to be your best bet. Again, all volume counts on borrower or lending side, so whatever your preference is, and you have a chance at winning those specific NFTs. So when I did the Citrus drawing this week, it was just for the normal one was just for the bottom prizes, and then I did three separate ones for the partnership prizes. So just so that folks are kind of aware of how that works. in case that's not like clear with the way we've designed it. But yes, we sent out 1,670 soul worth of prizes, give or take. Floor prices, of course, went up and down on things on Wednesday, and 200 plus chests. I'm trying to think of how much Foxy. I think like 30K Foxy. Try to include Foxy in on some of these drawings as well. More than 30K, actually. Our FFF raffle has, I think, 200K in it alone. So probably like 230K Foxy. And hopefully you guys had, we had some decent winners that attend our VCs. So shout out for our month-end giveaways. All right, I think the last item that I have in here are our missions and raid. I'll start off with the raid just because it's easier for me. It was for the Scarf Striped, which I grabbed. I want to say this was our first lore image, if I'm not mistaken. It might be our second, actually. Um, and yeah, for the Scarf Striped, it took 3 minutes, as crazy as it sounds, for an uncommon trait for that to fill. It's actually wild that we've seen. I didn't think it was going to take that long at all. I thought, yeah, I thought it was going to be, I thought it was going to be taken up real quick, and people were actually like kind of asking me, how long it usually takes to fill up. Um, yeah, I was going to say I think the last few have been less than a minute easy. This one took 3 minutes to fill, so just want to give a shout out for that. Congratulations to folks that did get into it, that were eligible and able to. Um, I think too part of that probably is because of the level 50 requirement, which I know we're working on trying to improve that. So I know we've talked about it before on these calls, but just know that in the background we are talking on how to improve that, especially for new coming foxes, getting them mission ready in a relatively reasonable time frame. Um, I think it's just as more beneficial for the whole community. So just want to throw that out there. But for our missions, just to run through all of them, we have solo a headband, level 36, level 46 plus, solo pineapple shirt, level 44 plus. For duos, we've got the Solana level 46 in Solana Den. We also have the mutated level 48 and Alien Den. And then for the trios, the most rare one is the Duo Captain, level 46, plus the Captain Den. And then the last, not easy, is the trio for Tank Tops, level 48 plus. And shout out to the folks that were using FoxyLend. I actually threw my foxes in there at a reasonable Foxy rate that were picked up real quick, for folks to borrow tank top foxes and ship them out on missions. So just wanted to throw that out there as well. That really was all I had put together. So let me jump in chats to see what kinds of questions we've got. Also, if you guys want to, feel free to jump into the raffle support channel and have fun with those guys in there. Let's see. Oh, biscuits. Seems to be no value in paying 10K Foxy and Tail. Should we have some value for that expense, or am I missing something? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a fair point. At its core, it's just an aesthetic item, and a way for us to have, I'll call it a Foxy burn. Don't really have an incentive for it quite yet, specifically for it, but it doesn't mean in the future that we can't do something. We just don't necessarily have the plans for it quite yet. So I don't want to LARP and be like, oh yeah, if you have tails by X, Y, and Z, like you'll be eligible for insert whatever you would want for it. So yeah, not super priority for us to put some additional value to that.